Yes, that's right. It's another morning, sipping coffee with Spider, looking at old news, because that's what we do. I'm a little better today than I was yesterday. Yesterday I was in pretty rough shape, but or maybe it was the day before. I don't remember for sure. But I'm doing a bit better today, so we'll uh, we'll take a look at what we have. IGN with some gaming news. Mortal Kombat's Ed Boon promises to address the widely panned Nintendo Switch version. So I guess we'll see what happens. I guess we'll see if he's going to talk about it in a positive way or talk about it in a too bad, so sad, or whatever. So if you're a Mortal Kombat 1 player and you're playing on the Switch, which is probably the least likely platform that you should be playing it on anyway, then, you know, maybe there's good news, maybe there's not. Washington Post. Georgia Trump electors argue they acted under federal authority. Now, this could undermine the RICO case if enough people get out from under it. And the argument, I think, is going towards. I mean, Trump's going to land like full broadside on the "it was rigged" kind of thing. So he was acting within federal authority to preserve the sacred act of voting and things of that nature. I think that's the tack he's going to go. You probably won't word it quite that way. His lawyers will have something big for it, but that's the way I think he's going to be focused on it, which is really ambiguous, and there's no way really to prove one way or the other necessarily. It's all opinion based, so we'll have to see if they can nail any of the electors as part of the RICO case or not. I don't know. It's looking dicey right now. It was a long shot from the beginning, but it's looking dicey. IGN says, sorry, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth won't have chocobo breeding. And, it's interesting the different directions that they've taken with these new remade games. They're chopping them up into chunks and then expanding those chunks into ludicrously large sizes so that each chunk is its own game as far as hours playable. And they're selling them separately. And also they're taking out some cornerstones of what made the original an interesting thing. I mean, the chocobo breeding part where you have to race to get your freedom was really annoying. But you got some of the best materia in the game, the best powers in the game by doing that. So you could do the tedium and get the best stuff, or if you didn't want to do the tedium, then you didn't get the best stuff. It was a trade-off. So, I don't know. I don't think that that's a good idea. But I probably won't end up playing it because it probably will always stay on PlayStation, so who cares? Whatever. Because I said if it does come to Xbox, I'm not going to buy it piecemeal. I'm not going to buy it as $60 a pop when the original was like $80, so it wasn't cheap, but you got the entire game. And this is just, yes, each piece is almost like the size of an entire game, and that's fine, but it's not the whole story. If you want to keep playing it and find out the whole story, you have to buy each one. And I'm not doing that until it's a package deal and affordable. And of course on Xbox. So none of those things are likely to happen. Let's see what's next. Smithsonian Magazine. Geologists unravel the mysteries of Australia's rare pink diamonds. And Australia has a lot of different mineral resources. They have Australian opals. They have gold. They have pink diamonds. Super interesting stuff. Super interesting stuff. And if you want to know more, because I'm not really super into rocks and things, but if you are into that, by all means, check out Smithsonian Magazine. PC Gamer, and I don't entirely agree with this, but whatever. CD Projekt Red recommends starting a new game when Cyberpunk 2077 Update 2.0 drops. Quote, starting fresh will enhance your overall gameplay experience. I don't think it will at my level because I've already got like 3 characters. And I don't really want to play it through another time just to experience all the new gameplay changes. I really don't. I'll load up my toughest character who's already been through the ringer, and I'll play the DLC and that kind of stuff with him, and then go from there and test out the stuff and see if they ruined my build. Because my build was a cyber warfare build, and mostly I could take out troops of people without even setting foot in the room. As long as I could see them, I could take them out one by one. And if they were talking about completely altering the way cyber warfare works, and if they've done that and they ruin it, then my whole character concept is screwed. So I'm not going to start from scratch just to find that out. I'm going to start with a character who's already there, test out the new mechanics, and see how it goes. So we'll see. According to Science magazine, ancient Amazonians created mysterious dark earth on purpose. And I believe we already knew this. They took soil study suggests today's indigenous Amazonians are making new terra preta. It's fertile soil by piling up refuse in middens at the edge of their backyards and along trails leading out of their village. It's patches of fertile black soil. And the scientists thought that it was created by pre-Hispanic indigenous civilizations, but it wasn't clear how. Now they suggest that the Amazonians intentionally created the rich soil thousands of years ago to better bolster their crops, and that their modern-day descendants are still making it today. And it's a good, it makes sense that they would recycle. Recycling is how everything works. And ancient cultures recycled a lot more things than we do. And they had a better handle on it than we do. But then they didn't have plastics and they didn't have all these other things. So it was a lot simpler for them. Most of their things that they needed to recycle were either organic, so it could be put into soil farming, or it was things that they had made like ceramics or brickwork or whatever, and they could just break that down and remake new stuff out of them, which they did frequently. So, it makes sense. Associated Press, Ukraine's president at the United Nations Security Council lashes out at Russia, but avoids face-to-face encounter. Because Russia's there. They're on the United Nations Security Council. Pardon me. And it sounds like things politically didn't go too well for the dude. For Mr. Zelensky. Now, I don't know for sure, because I haven't read too deeply into a lot of things, but I do know that Russia and Saudi Arabia are acting like bros, according to a bit of a fist bump thing that they gave each other when they saw each other, their leaders. And so it's interesting how tied everyone is to Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia is just kind of playing the center and playing everybody against each other, I think. That's what I think. PBS NewsHour, Trump's New York hush money trial could overlap with state's presidential primary. And yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. He made sure that he was up for grabs on the ballot to make sure that there was enough of a push. That way, if he gets chosen as the nominee, all this other stuff is going to have to wait. I think. I don't know. I don't know if you can remove him from contention if he's already the nominee. I don't know how that works. I don't know if there's precedent for that. The hush money thing is really irritating anyway. This is the whole Stormy Daniels thing. And that should all be done. She lost in court. Her lawyer is in prison. That whole thing is pointless. I don't care about that. I don't care about that at all. The other stuff, maybe. The other indictment stuff, maybe. But I do not care about the Stormy Daniels stuff. She's a non-entity as a person to me. What's next? ABC News, Senate okays CQ Brown as next Joint Chiefs chair after Schumer sidesteps Tuberville. And this has been some contention. I guess there's a lot of backlash for this choice to lead the Joint Chiefs, and I don't really know why because I haven't examined the story too closely, but it seems like it's just basically more political infighting. And I think it's interesting that we keep seeing the Senate and the House make up or go around existing rules to get things done, which begs the question, why have the rules anyway? Why bother? If you're just going to do what you want anyway, then why bother making rules? I mean, it's dumb to me. That's all. 96-year-old judge who refuses to retire suspended for quote-unquote misconduct. Washington Post. There's been a lot of talk about judges and people in the judicial branch like staying in their spot until well into their upper age. The same thing happened with Ginsburg because the Democrats felt that her sticking to her spot rather than retiring was costing them. And maybe it did, but I doubt it. Ketanji Brown, or whatever her name is now in the spot, and I don't think things have been too much different. But there's a big fight to get out the older judges and to replace them with newer judges that are perhaps more flexible, I guess is the nice way to say it. More flexible. And don't forget, if you haven't yet, the FTC has invited Fortnite players to claim refunds for unwanted in-game purchases. So if you made an unwanted purchase, I don't know how they would tell or how you would claim it. Like, I don't know, there's going to be a lot of people who said, oh yeah, I didn't want to buy any of this stuff. Can I have my money back? When they probably bought loads of skins and things. But if you're, I don't know how it works, but if you want to claim refunds, there you go. Oh, WWG with some news. Call of Duty, what are you doing? Call of Duty adding Spawn in Series 6 update. This isn't Call of Duty anymore. Call of Duty was all about being realistic. It was supposed to be, it and Battlefield are supposed to be realistic war games shooters based on real life politics and what if scenarios. It got real heavy into the sci-fi as the later Black Ops games and Advanced and Infinite Warfare came out. And then I thought, oh, they're getting back to their roots with the World War ones. And now they're adding Spawn. Come on now. It's not Call of Duty anymore. It's just some generic thing. It's not even fun. I don't know. The reasons that I would have had to play it anymore are long gone. Long gone. ABC News, judge orders Hunter Biden to appear in person at arraignment on federal gun charges. That's interesting. Does that mean that he's going to be taken to jail right afterwards? Will he be able to make bail? Will it all be symbolic? I don't know. There's a lot of optics on this, I think. And I think a lot of it's going to be politics and a lot of it's going to be for looks and for show. Unfortunately, because that's how these things go. They're basically for show. And that's what I think is going to happen. And this sounds like it's going to go that direction. Associated Press, challenges to library books continue at record pace in 2023, American Library Association reports. And I know I'm going to throw out a complicated opinion on this, okay? I'm not of the opinion that kids should just look up stuff without understanding at least some of it first. Like, if they have questions about something, they should be able to ask a parent. And if their parents are bigots and things like that, okay, I get it. They have to have alternative places to go. But I think school libraries should focus on good literature and things that are enriching for children rather than controversial subjects. Public libraries, on the other hand, should be anything goes. They're public libraries. They're for everybody. They're for kids, they're for adults, they're for whatever. If you take your kid to the public library and you let him peruse the whole thing and not just say, here, look in the kids section, then they should be allowed to pick out anything. But school libraries, I think, should be kind of limited. I don't mean censored. I don't want to censor anything. But I don't think that you should have certain hot button things in school. College, sure. College libraries are different. They're older. They're basically on their own because a lot of them are living in dorms and things. They're getting a first taste of being an adult. And a lot of adults go to college. When you're in college, you're not really a kid anymore. You might still be a student, but you're not a kid. Whereas like high school and lower, I think it should still be, you're still growing up. I don't think that sounds bigoted, honestly. I don't feel like I'm a bad person for that. And I don't think I'm blocking anybody from researching things. The internet's there. I mean, kids are going to find out about stuff whether you want them to or not. But I think school libraries should stick to enriching children rather than opening them up to the broader world of identity and politics and things of that nature. Save that for the public libraries and for college. That's what I think. Don't censor anything. Don't block things completely. Just save them from the schools for now. I think that makes sense. I think that's common sense. Reuters, Stellantis, which is the people who do Chrysler, I believe, to furlough some employees as the UAW strike impact widens. Yep. This is what I said. They're not going to go for those demands. And the union, one of these companies, I don't know if it was Stellantis or if it was GM or who it was, but they offered a 19 point something percent increase in wages rather than the 46.2% that the union is asking for. And the union rejected it. They can't seriously think they're going to get 46% raises. It's madness. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. I don't know. Washington Post. Garland pushes back against GOP claims of law enforcement bias. Well, it's difficult to defend yourself when there's a lot of decisions that look like, I'm not saying they look like bias. It's optics. All these things going after Trump and this pile up after pile up after pile up after pile up, it looks bad. You should have just stuck with a couple things, got him on those, and once you've got him with those, then maybe do the other stuff. It'll look like you're rubbing it in after the fact, but he's not a danger anymore to your whatever agenda you got. Because that's what it looks like. It looks like they're just trying to take him out of the equation just because. And I'm not saying he's not guilty. I'm not saying he is or isn't. I'm just saying it looks bad, and it's just making more and more people think, oh, maybe they are after Trump. Maybe I should rethink what I'm doing. I don't know. Washington Post. Amid new border strains, Biden extends legal status to 470,000 Venezuelans. Well, I guess he might as well, because the United States caused that problem. Venezuela's economy was doing excellent because they'd invested in oil and they were in the foreign market with all this other stuff. And then the United States and OPEC came in and snapped it right in front of their noses. And their economy collapsed because of decisions that the rest of us made on oil production. It destroyed their economy. Like literally destroyed it overnight. They had no food. They weren't able to pay their utilities. People were homeless. Like Venezuela is screwed up right now, and it's the fault of the rest of the world, with the U.S. being a big proponent of it. I don't know what the United States has with knocking over these South American, Central American countries. Like, why do we keep knocking them about like that? What have they done to us? I know we've got the war on drugs and everybody's mad about that, but we caused that too. United States brought that stuff in. Ugh. This it's such a convoluted spiral of stuff, and the boogeyman here in all of this is the United States. The United States went out of its way to do things to other countries in an effort to protect itself by damaging all these other countries, and it just made everything worse for everybody, including themselves. It sucks. So you might as well give legal status to the Venezuelans who are coming up here, because you kind of owe them after you destroyed their country. You destroyed their economy. Where are they going to go, though? We barely have enough room for us. I don't know. I have no idea. Whatever. Whatever. PBS NewsHour, this is from my home state. Ahead of an abortion vote, Ohio Supreme Court says some ballot language is misleading and must be rewritten. And they did rewrite this. The story is, of course, from last week, and they did rewrite it recently. Very little. They did some minor adjustments. And I'm not sure what the end game is here. I think they're trying to still outlaw it, but they're trying to be real careful about how they word it, so it looks like they're being cooperative when they're not, which is why the judge here in this case was kind of no. But I don't know. It's kind of tricky. It's super tricky. And yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But that's all I got. It's kind of a slow news day today, and I'm going to cut it short. And I'm going to let you guys have an early breakfast by a few minutes. Get the kids ready for school, all that good stuff. And I'll see you tomorrow morning.